What's up, conspiracy theorists? We're live again. We just did the vaccine. We did the vaccine already, and now we're gonna talk about the moon landing. Yeah, the VOD's up if you want to look at it, but the moon landing is what we're gonna talk about today. The first incentive is it attacks the church because we always believed the Earth was the center of the universe. If you think about it, the number one thing that these Freemasons are attacking, these elites are attacking, is the Bible or the church. Even though the Bible doesn't explicitly say that the Earth is the center of the universe, the church has always believed it. Ever, always believed it. They've always believed it. When have they not believed it? When have they not? They've always believed it. And anybody who was a heretic, anybody who said that it wasn't, any astrologer, any person who looks through the scope and thinks they know what they're talking about, they were deemed as a heretic and kicked out of church. So it's absolutely an incentive. It's absolutely an incentive to fake the moon landing. It is, because you're debunking the church and you're attacking Christianity and Christians. Number two, and because church is the bride of God, so you're also kind of attacking God in that manner. Heathens. Number two, to tie up Russia into thinking we beat them in our ego-stroking war. You really think that when we were trading these secrets, when we were doing all this crap, when we were doing all the stuff we can, getting the most technology to say we have the better technology than you really think that we wouldn't fake a moon landing to say we got here first when they were racing us to get there? And you really think they would continue to spend millions when they could beat us in other ways? And they would continue to try to get there when they could beat us in other ways when they actually believe this? Yeah, it was pretty believable. Everybody believed it. A lot of people still believe it now because of the psyop of the media. But yeah, they would absolutely do that. That's a real incentive. Unlike Flat Earth, we got two incentives already that are real and not just misinterpretations. There's absolute incentive for them to do this, which is why I believe the elites could have and did do this. Number three is bubbles in space. You tell me why, if it's real, and you're a real smart atheist scientist that doesn't believe in God, yet you're somehow smart, even though the smartest people ever were born in the era of the peak of Christianity. Tell me this: why do you think bubbles are in space? How is that scientifically possible? It's not like they were under a tank. It's not like they were underwater filming and trying to stop us by making it look black, like those tanks that are covered up, like in freaking whatever that Stranger Things. Those are real. You really think it won't look black? Have you not seen that? Those look dark. It's not like there's bubbles in water. There is bubbles in waters, but there's no bubbles in space. Explain to me. And the next point is explain to me why astronauts are dodging hashtag bubbles in space questions and censoring and kicking anybody out that mentions it to them. Tell me why they hate the bubbles in space. Tell me. Tell me. Please tell me. Please explain to me why the astronauts, the actual people who went to space, basically were in the whole PSYOP mission and got paid a ton of money, a ton of taxpayer dollars, is also one of the incentives. I don't think I wrote it down, but it is one of the incentives, not the huge ones, but they make a ton of money from it. The huge one is attacking the church. But tell me why this is all the proof also. This, if you don't believe in Christ and you don't believe that they're gonna attack the Bible, even though there's tons of proof and they do all the time and they don't attack the other religions, tell me this: why are they dodging the question of bubbles in space? Why can't they just say there's no bubbles in space or something? And they say, oh, that's not true. They know there's bubbles in space because the space isn't there. They didn't go to space. And tell me why they're dodging anybody and canceling anybody. Why can't they just say, scientifically, this is why there's bubbles in space? Why can't they explain it instead of kicking people out? That's fishy. That's fishy as frick. No. Astronauts caught wearing harnesses. Tell me why. Tell me why they were caught wearing harnesses and they couldn't pay their editor to edit it a little. What? You have that crap of an editor when you're making this much money and you're trying to attack the church? At least pay a good editor if you're going to try to psyop us. That's offensive. Really, they were caught with harnesses, which is a big fishy thing. Why do you need harnesses when you're already in your bubble and you can float in space? Because they couldn't, because they were not in space. The reason they needed something to help them float. They did. And practice makes perfect. They've been practicing this. There's clips of an astronaut going after somebody said, they put it right next to when somebody said, you can't do that if you're not in space. That's impossible. Even though I could do that in a pool, which is stupid. And then there's this guy. It looks like he's in space, and he's going and he turns. And practice makes perfect, and he reveals that he's not in space, and it just disproves the whole lady. Really, really, they were called harnesses. That's fishy. Why do they need harnesses if they can just float in space? Because they're not in space. Not to move this a little. Let's move this up here. Okay. Not having the technology to fake it, but somehow having the technology for Nixon to make a phone call almost 300,000 miles away. What the frick? What the frick? I can't, even if now, with these smartphones, when we have been using this, when this is way later into our development, no phone, not even by the president back then, could reach 300,000 miles away. Are you sure they weren't just calling them while they're in their tank? No, I do not believe we did not have the technology to fake it, even though we had TV broadcasting and all that crap. But we have the technology for him to make a phone call with the astronauts almost 300,000 miles away. That's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. We did not have the technology. No, we did not have the technology for him to fake a phone call. And why do you think we had the technology for him to fake a phone call, but not the technology to fake it? That's absolutely stupid and retarded. We did not have the technology to fake it. How did we not have the technology to fake it? And the technology for him to make a phone call almost 300,000 miles away. That's crazy. That is crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy. What? What? That makes no sense. That's absolutely a contradiction. Number 7. We would go back, but we destroyed the technology and can't rebuild it. What? You would go back, but you destroyed the technology and you don't know how to rebuild it, and you can't rebuild it. That's the most stupid, retarded thing I've heard all day. You're saying that back then, when we barely knew technology and we had no technology, that we couldn't rebuild it? Back then we could do it, but now you guys can't rebuild it now that we are way more technologically advanced? That makes no sense at all. This whole thing's fishy, honestly. This is what I wanted to expose. The whole thing's fishy. It's absolutely fishy. All these points are fishy. This is all evidence. Fishy, fishy, fishy. They contradict it. Not like flat earth where lack of evidence means there's evidence. No, there's a ton of evidence here. There's